Right, we are now at another property. Now, this is a slightly unusual situation. This is a property that we have already cleaned. As you can see, it's not in the best condition from the outside. And we done a clean a couple of days ago. I had a cleaning team here. Done that, and we actually had a complaint. We had a complaint from the agency we've done the clean for. Now, we don't often get complaints on our cleaning. Sometimes, you know, nobody's perfect. Sometimes you can overlook and you can miss things. But we did have quite a serious complaint about the cleaning for this particular property. Now, when I think back and when I've been discussing it with the client, I think the issue with this particular job is that it's one of expectations. This property, and I'll go inside in a moment, this property was in a terrible, terrible condition. You know, there were mice, there were cockroaches, there was everything, and all of the surfaces were filthy dirty. Now, when the property is in that sort of condition, and you have to do what we would term an extreme clean, you know, you're not going to get everything perfectly clean. Even in ideal situations, you never get anything perfectly clean. And I think the client was expecting a better result than what was realistic. So I think the mistake I made, I probably didn't explain the limitations of, you know, of what we can do and what we can reasonably expect. So I think that was my error on this particular job, because even after doing a good clean, to be honest with you, it's still a property that needs work. It still needs maintenance. So the reason why I thought I'd make this video is perhaps to, you know, to give other people, that's perhaps prospective clients, an idea of the limitations. Because I above all, I try and be honest. I try and be honest with with all of our clients and say, yes, we can do this, but you know, there are sometimes limitations. There are things that we can't do, or there are realistic limitations that some things are not necessarily worth cleaning because they would take so much time. It's just easier to replace and renew. So let's go into the property. Let's yeah, and see. So this is it's a flat. Now this is the main entrance door. You can see that's not in a great condition. But this is a shed, so I think there's one a unit upstairs. So that's the upstairs. We're not doing the upstairs. So this is like the common area. So we didn't do any cleaning here. So you know, you can see it's in a pretty grim condition. You know, just from the entrance area. Now they actually put a new door in. So the door is good because that's a new door. Okay, but I think that's the only good thing about this property. They've got a new front door. I mean, everything else is pretty terrible. Well, it was terrible. We've done a clean now, so it's a lot better now. But you know, it's still pretty grim. So let's go inside and see. We're actually doing a bit more work here, just to try and address some of the issues that the client raised with us. All right. Unfortunately, I don't have a full set of videos or photos of the property before we started cleaning, but I've got a few clips like this one. Really, it just shows you know, a sample of the condition of the property before we started. Also, you know, on top of the cabinets as well. Again, it was all thick with grease. The floors. Carpets again were all badly stained throughout, as you can see. You know, I wasn't confident of getting a fantastic result, but that's what we started with. The main issue the client had with the original clean that we done was the condition of the carpet. Now, the carpet, or the starting condition, was very, very bad, and it had a lot of stains. Still some staining here at the moment, and it was never my expectation that we'd be able to get rid of all of the stains. And just to be clear, I never say to anybody, any prospective client or even any of our regulars that we can remove 100% of stains, because you can't give that sort of blanket guarantee that we can remove stains. We can apply stain removal treatments and clean the carpets, but I as an honest service provider, I would never say we can remove 100% of stains, because sometimes you just don't get a good result. You just can't get a good result. Now, what we done a couple of days ago, we did a clean. The result wasn't fantastic. My carpet cleaner who I sent reported back and said the results weren't great. Now, sometimes you don't get a good result after a clean, and it does benefit from a secondary clean, and that's certainly in the case here. Now, we've tried something else, because we have multiple different products. We've probably got about 20 main products that we use. Or, well, we don't use all of them, but we got probably 2 or 3 products that we use regularly, and the other ones for various applications. So we got stain removal products or carpet cleaning pre-sprays, that sort of thing, for more specialist applications. So this one certainly benefited from a re-clean. What we've done a 2-stage process on the re-clean. So we've scrubbed it with a rotary machine, and we've actually used a really aggressive process. We've actually used on here quite an aggressive scrubbing pad, which you wouldn't normally use for carpets, but considering the state of the carpet, we thought, well, fine, let's use the strongest sort of process we can. We've pre-sprayed it. We've used some of this. We've used a product called Blaze, and this is it's a high-performance solvent pre-spray that dissolves a lot of surface staining. It's quite good on that. So we've pre-sprayed it. We've scrubbed that with a rotary machine that's got really good scrubbing action, and then after that we've rinsed all the product from the carpet. So we've done a hot water rinse of all of the carpets here, and although again it is still not 100%, it is far better than what it was before. So I hope the client is going to be a lot happier with this. As I said, it is far from perfect, but it is a lot better than what it was when we started. So that's one of the main limitations, and I probably should have been clearer with the client, is that, you know, this carpet, even after we cleaned it, you still might decide it needs replacement. If this were my flat, even after the double carpet clean, I would still probably want to replace the carpet, because it's not in a great condition. Same with the walls and paintwork. They are marked. We have done some washing of the paintwork and the walls and the skirting boards, but some marks do remain. There's some mould spotting in places as well, although we're going to do some further cleaning and see if we can do get any further improvements on here. But with paintwork, that will not restore any sort of painted walls and surfaces to an as new condition. You know, it's not cleaning. Yes, it can help, but it's not necessarily going to restore a paint finish to an as new condition. It almost certainly won't. So there are limitations. I mean, some paint finishes are more washable than others, but this paint, no, it's not in a great condition. Right, this is the kitchen. Now it has been cleaned. In fact, I think I can see there's a cockroach there as well. There's a little cockroach. Wow. This has to be treated with by a pest controller. So it's grim, but nowhere near as grim as when we started. Surfaces have been cleaned and disinfected. We've moved the appliances as well. We found a couple of dead mice. I think 2 or 3 dead mice we found. Lots of cockroaches, dead ones, live ones. It is much more presentable now than it was. Now the paintwork is not in a great condition. That is also one of the main limitations when we do a clean. Yes, we do some limited paint washing, but there is no substitute for redecoration. You know, if the paintwork has been marked and damaged, then to a limited extent you might be able to improve it with washing, but it's not a substitute for paintwork. We've done some further cleaning of the paintwork here. It's a slight improvement, not dramatic. We also scrubbed the floor as well. Again, nothing really significant we've been able to do here because, you know, it's just the condition of the floor. So that is a limitation. The floor really needs to be replaced. I would recommend all of the floors need to be replaced. Let's look in the bathroom. Right, the bathroom seal, now here, it's completely gone black and mouldy, and this has penetrated all the way through. That really needs to be replaced. That is not a cleaning issue, really. Yeah, sometimes it's not too bad. You can bleach it or use a mould treatment on that and get quite a good result. But I think it's so bad here, really needs to be replaced. Flooring as well. Again, flooring is in terrible condition. It's been cleaned. Can't do anything about the rust. There's rust there. There's some mould spotting. Again, all limitations. These are more sort of maintenance issues as opposed to cleaning, really. Really, everything needs to be renovated. Cleaning throughout. I mean, we've cleaned and sanitised, but again, the chrome is damaged here. We can't do anything with that. So, all in all, I mean, it's not a great bathroom, really, and that's one of the limitations. So, even with a good clean, a really good clean, it's still not going to be a very pleasant bathroom. Radiators, again, in a poor condition, not great all round, so limitations there. There's quite a bit of mould in one area, in the corner, although we have done a further treatment with this mould spotting. We weren't able to do a lot with that. We've tried, we've cleaned and scrubbed that down, but really this mould needs to be treated. The whole room needs to be repainted, really. And there are some marks on the wall. Again, these shelves, they're just like MDF shelves. There's nothing we can do with those. They need to be replaced. Yeah, you've got a greasy vent pipe. That can't be cleaned, or I don't know a way of actually doing that. We have tried in the past, and they generally break up. So, yeah, that's one of the limitations. You can't clean everything. We did undertake some further cleaning of the paintwork above the wall units and of the cornice that sits on the top of the cabinets and on the top of the cabinet. I think the original clean that we done wasn't up to standard, so I do accept that criticism from the client. So we did some further cleaning there, and we got a much better result after we done that. This is what I consider to be the honest truth about any sort of cleaning you might instruct. Now, I've been involved in the cleaning industry now, for more than 10 years. In fact, a lot more than that. And I've undertaken my own cleans, and I've assessed many other cleans. And in all that time, I have never, ever seen a perfect clean. There's always some level of imperfection. People miss things. Cleaning is a very manual undertaking, and it's undertaken by human beings, not robots. And human beings will often miss things. With the best will in the world, they're imperfect. Their powers and skills of observation are imperfect. Even with going for a checklist, when you look around the property and and survey all of the individual elements of that clean, there are hundreds and hundreds of details. You've got windows, you've got fixtures and fittings, you've got shelves and cabinets, you've got all sorts of things, and nobody ever spots anything, and especially when you get really close. When you get really close detail, nobody spots everything. And sometimes clients or prospective clients get the idea that if they're paying for a clean, it is going to be perfect. Now, yes, we try and do a thorough job, a really good job, but a perfect clean is practically impossible. If you consider somebody who keeps and maintains their own house, in a really, really clean condition, they're very house proud. I mean, some people will spend 2-3 hours a day cleaning their home. 3 hours a day over the course of a year, that's going to be over 1,000 hours of cleaning. You know, for most people, you know, that's going to be excessive. But even if you want to keep the property in a good order, in reasonable order, you're still looking, you know, a good hour every day. And over the course of a year, that's going to be several hundred hours. You know, 300-400 hours of cleaning just for average or smaller property. Now, a lot of the properties we clean have not had proper cleaning maintenance over a long period of time. So, you know, there's been a cleaning shortfall of hundreds of hours, you know, the sort of time you would need to maintain that property in good condition. And if you consider, you know, a professional clean might only be, you know, 5, 10, 15, maybe 20 hours for, you know, for some properties. No, not large properties. I'm just talking about properties in a good or fair condition. That's the sort of time scale we're talking about. And if a property hasn't been cleaned and well maintained over the course of a year or more, then that amount of time is not going to be sufficient to deliver an absolutely spotless, perfect clean. You can do a good clean, for sure, a good clean, but if you're talking very detailed things, if you're going to go around the property and look for, you know, oversights, then you're always going to find issues. I certainly can. So that is would be my level of expectation on a clean. If I gave one of my cleaning teams for a standard clean, which in a standard clean is what I would term an affordable clean, you know, in the sort of 10 to maybe 20 hours sort of bracket, they can do a really good job in that time, but it's not going to be perfect. If you wanted something that was even approaching perfection, you know, you'd be talking about a far longer time span. You know, you'd be talking many tens of hours, maybe even getting over 100 hours, you know, for an average size property, and that would make it unaffordable. So realistically, even a good clean, an affordable clean, is still going to be an imperfect clean. And if you, as a client, if you're expecting that perfection, then you're always going to be disappointed. Um, so I try and explain this. It is quite difficult, but I try and explain it to to our clients. Say, listen, we can do a really good clean, but we can't do a perfect clean. You know, who in any walk of life, in any job, carries out their duties perfectly all the time? You know, with 100%, on their performance assessment all the time. It just doesn't happen. Yet some people expect that of a cleaner, especially if they're doing this job 5 days a week. You know, they're going to be tired by the time they get towards the end, and realistically, you know, they're more likely to miss things. So that's the you know that's the honest view. Really, it is. We try and do, you know, the best we can, and we're always willing to, you know, to come back if there are any issues, and which is our policy. So, you know, if there's anything that we've missed, that isn't up to like a reasonable standard or a good standard, I would say, then sure, we are happy to come back. We have a detailed specification, and it's something that's on the specification that should have been done. Then we will come back and address it. But if you are honestly expecting something that is absolutely perfect and spotless in all respects, then yeah, the chances are, but even for like for any sort of typical property, you are going to be disappointed. So that's our position. Like I say, if you have any queries about the specifics of what we do have a specification. So, you know, I can always explain or send a more detailed spec trying to explain what we do and what we don't do. Um, and I think that's the way to go. You know, you try to explain to your clients in as much detail as possible what they can expect. And as I said, I think in this situation, I didn't explain the limitations well enough. So I take responsibility for that. And that is why I think we had the issue and the complaint. In the end, everything turned out okay. I think the client, we did some further cleaning, and I explained everything to the client, and in the end, they were happy and they were satisfied. But you know, it's something that I will learn on, and I'll make efforts in the future where we have a clean. And we don't often have these really difficult cleans, but I will make every effort just to clarify and explain to the client, you know, what they can reasonably expect for their money. To summarize, I'm going to be completely honest with you. This job is not the best cleaning result we have ever obtained. But the point I've been trying to make is the starting point was very poor. And that does make it a lot harder for our cleaners and cleaning teams to actually get that really good result. Time is always a limitation, and you know, if we're starting in, you know, in a really bad place, then it does make it more difficult, and sometimes the expectations are lower as a result of that. However, I have to say, I think our cleaners overall, they are still better than most of the other cleaners in other companies that I have encountered. That's my experience, and that's the feedback I have received time and time again. So no, we're not perfect, but we do try, and we do generally get a really good result.